picture of him. Walking following her, look. Here. Go to the left. Can you see him over there? There he goes.
He's down. I saw him. Is that my banana? Is that my banana?
Stay in there, Emily. Stay in.
Put butter on your head. He's going fresh. Where are you going? See him around there?
So what I have put out is called Behaviour Enrichment. So every day of the fortnight we have different little things that we make up for our care. And most of the animals at the zoo get some sort of enrichment. So today we've got bamboo tubes and a bucket. And then they've got some lettuce, although that's just kind of make it a little bit harder. They'll have some fruit and veggies and maybe some sunflower seeds, peanuts. That's just your favourite, peanuts. So the reason we make little enrichment items is to encourage the natural behaviours that care when used in the wild. So as you can see, they're really good at manipulating things with their feet and their feet. They have the intelligence level about of a 3-year-old child, so they're pretty smart and they're pretty good at getting into this now. Figuring out if they're worth getting into. So often they'll go around finding their favourite bits first and then come back to the not so favourite bits later on. So
Let's go.
sometimes we'll hang things up like these trees or systems and they'll climb or they'll fly up or they'll pull something, if we make something on a chain, they'll pull the chain up or they'll hang off it. So these ones are on the ground, so it's probably a little bit easier. But they do have to roll them around and there's some big stuff in there and there's only little holes in bamboo. So we've got 4 boys in here and they've got quite a strict hierarchy. So this guy in front of me, he's bottom of the pecking order. His name's Tāpui and he's best friend, which means best friend. He's the one that was following me around and we think he was hand raised because he is particularly friendly. So he's bottom, so if any of the other birds come and decide they want to start using that bamboo tube, he'll get kicked out of the way. So most of them will kind of move out of the way subtly, but he's quite persistent, so he'll hang around for a while and sometimes has to have a foot on his back and shove to the side to get the message. Just above him we have Tohu. He's got a green band on. His name means to point because when he was little he broke his foot and now when he perches his toe sticks out pointing in a different direction. And we have Rob Roy down here. His favourite thing is the little that we put out and he's pretty smart at getting all the good stuff out first. Rob Roy is a place in the South Island of here I found. And then on top we have now here, his name means Rascal, so he sticks that quite well. He's the one sitting up at the top. So Kia, called Kia after that call they made. The long call sounds a bit like a long Kia. So these guys are the world's only alpine parrot. They come from up in the snowy mountains. So because of that there's not much food that grows up there, so they have to get quite into everything and figure out what's food and what's worth eating. So in the wild they'll eat like roots, shoots, bark of trees, berries, even eat little insects or rodents or anything they can come across really, so they get quite good at figuring out stuff. That actually got them in trouble quite a few years ago now, but in the late 1800s there were incorrect rumours that Kia were becoming sheep killers. So when the food got really low, Kia would go down to people's farms and start eating the dead or dying sheep. Not eating, yeah, kind of cutting into that, eat the fat from around the cover. liver and kidneys. So farmers would come out and find their sheep and they'd find that they had care bites all over them, so they thought that the care was the reason the sheep were dying. So then in the 1800s they put a bounty on their head, and people were actually paid money to shoot care, and you got money for every care beat.
There's one up there.
So then, over 100 years, because that went till the 1970s, 150,000 care were shot. So now there's only between 1 and 5,000 of them left in the wild. So we're really, really small compared to what used to be there. And now they are fully protected, so that didn't come around to about the 1980s actually. So this is most of the standoff, almost like the most likely you're getting as close as you get to a fight with Kia. They're not very aggressive, but yeah, Tapui's a bit of a, he kind of does his own thing, so he might eventually get shoved out of the way. Most Kia can move on, but he's, tests boundaries, that one. So it's really hard to actually know exactly how many Kia there are in the wild. People think there are lots because they'll come down and they'll go skiing and they'll say, oh, there's heaps on the ski fields, but they've actually all come there because they learn pretty quickly that ski fields and car parks equal humans, which equals food because people like to feed Kia. But other than that, they live up in kind of rocky areas like this, and that's where they lay their eggs and have their nests. And that's really easy to access for mammalian predators like stoats and rats, so they just come in and raid their nests.
Oh, we've got egg too.
So that's one of the big issues facing Kia in the wild. Kia-human conflict is still a massive issue that they're facing, even now they're protected. So we support the Kia Conservation Trust, who's working down in the South Island, and by you guys coming in today, some of your money goes towards that through our conservation fund, and they are helping kind of resolve that human-Kia conflict at the moment, and they're working with businesses in the local community down there and trying to figure out ways so that Kia benefit and the community benefits, because at the moment they're kind of like, well, Canada has an issue with bears and they'll get into their bins and rip off their guttering and things, so they're still considered a bit of a pest down there.
A bear comes down to someone's house, raids over there.
Yeah, that's what the Kia Conservation Trust is doing, and it's really working out well for both birds and people down there.
If it gets interfered by a human, it's probably attack.
These guys are a nice green colour, as you might have noticed. That helps them blend in with the trees. So ages ago there was a big eagle called the Haast eagle, and that was the only predator that these guys really had in the wild. So it'd fly up really high, and by being a nice green they'd blend into all the trees. And they've got this, if you see them open up their feathers, their wings, or fly up, they've got this bright orange underneath, which is really, really cute. Society's interested now.
So he's actually trying to go off.
So yeah, that's the most dominant one just walking down there, and so he knows he can come in and get whatever he wants. So the lower ranking ones, they'll be more likely to try to get in first before the senior guys come and kick them out. So we've just got the 4 boys here. Male and female Kia don't look that different. The female Kia might have slightly less curved beaks and be a little bit smaller. We're not actually breeding at the moment because I think most captive facilities that hold Kia are pretty full. Also, all the animals that we have here at the zoo have kind of stud books, and there's people in charge of most of the animals, say in Australasia or a particular region, and they have all the genetics, and they can figure out who breeds with who. But with Kia, that got a little bit lost, and there was even at one stage a Kia in a pub somewhere in England that used to eat like nuts out of a bowl in the bar. So yeah, they got it. I think ended up in the black market trade a little bit, and now they're all over the world.
Came out. People got really annoyed, but never got actually.
But yeah, these guys are just ambassadors, and then yeah, as I said before, we support the Kia Conservation Trust, so they're looking after the ones in the wild. Other issues these guys have had, with their inquisitive nature, is that start ripping out all the lead nails from the ski huts, and by ripping out the lead nails, they've been getting lead poisoning. They also come down to the road and eat roadkill and get hit by cars. So it's worth paying attention if you're lucky enough to go down and see them in the wild. Paying attention to where you're driving. Not feeding here if you're in a ski field. It's very tempting to get them to come up close, but it's really not good for them, and all the young ones live in that. That's the only way they can get food, so they're not actually that good at looking after themselves. And then they compete with all the other care down in the human populated areas. Does anyone have any questions about here? Yes, so this is the only place they're found down in our southern Alps, so they're quite closely related to kaka, who also have a parrot in their in our forest aviary. There's a North and South Island version of those, so they think when our southern Alps went up, the kind of care went up with them, or that was kind of an evolutionary thing to turn into the alpine parrot. So yeah, they're really unique like that because they are the only ones in the world that live in that kind of setting. Yes, do you have a question up on the wall?
Hello, Helen.
Katie. Can you just hop off the rocks, please? It's a little bit dangerous, and that's kind of the birds hang out. So they find it a bit weird when people hang out there. Any other questions?
Where is it?
We've also got 3 female wicket in here. I think they're all hiding out at the moment, and one has a nest up on the side of the waterfall. They're species that are just as cheeky as the care, but often get overlooked. They'll often sneak up behind fishermen and steal their food or whatever other stashes they've got stored away for fishing. We've got a few different species of them, and they're all from around the country. They're also found down in the south here. But they almost do a bit too well because we've released a whole lot onto Road Roll, which is one of our offshore island projects at the moment, and they're now becoming a pest themselves because they're eating all the native skinks. So they're everywhere there, and yeah, they're thriving really, really well. But, he in particular likes the sparks. You'll have them either in the waterfall or down the bottom. They've all got quite different personalities as well, so we can tell them apart by their coloured leg bands, but now here looks a little bit different as well. He's got a little fluffed up head, but Tapawee will follow me around, and then yeah, they've all got quite different personalities and what they do, so they're pretty easy to tell apart. One of them also likes gardening. He'll go around and I'll find in the den in the morning like 10 different bits of plant from different plants that he's clipped off, and he'll move stones around.
Just fly up to you for I'm either going to take your whole bag or that camera. And most likely you just need this camera because the bag starts
Katie, left your litter. You stink.
Pretty much it. If anyone has any questions, I'll come around for a little bit and you're welcome to ask. But I hope you have a good afternoon.